If you're trying to understand today's global news, the Middle East is still the place to watch. Right now, three things are driving the region: tensions between the U.S. and Iran over the Strait of Hormuz, the ongoing Israel-Hezbollah conflict in Lebanon, and a growing split inside the Gulf between Saudi Arabia and the UAE. The Middle East is a set of overlapping conflicts, rivalries, and shifting alliances, and those pieces are all moving at once. This isn't just regional conflict, it's the visible edge of a deeper financial and power realignment playing out through energy, currency, and control. The Middle East is best understood as a battleground between the old, forever war system and a new multipolar order forming around capital flows and sovereignty. Let's start with the biggest, immediate flashpoint. Part 1. Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most important shipping lanes in the world. A huge share of global oil passes through it, which means any disruption there can send shockwaves through energy markets, shipping insurance, and diplomatic relations. The Strait of Hormuz is the pressure point where military escalation and monetary power collide, because whoever controls energy flows shapes the next phase of the global system. Today, the key story is the rising U.S.-Iran confrontation around that waterway. Reuters reported clashes involving Iranian boats, missiles, and drones as the U.S. tried to keep shipping moving. That matters for two reasons. First, if shipping is interrupted, the economic impact could spread far beyond the region. Second, this kind of confrontation can escalate quickly. A standoff at sea can turn into missile strikes, retaliatory attacks, or a broader regional crisis. So when you hear Strait of Hormuz, think global oil, military escalation, and major economic risk. Part 2. Israel and Hezbollah. The second big flashpoint is the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. This is not a frozen conflict. It's active, dangerous, and highly volatile. Recent Reuters reporting showed smoke rising over southern Lebanon and described Hezbollah as taking a steep hit in the fighting. In practical terms, that means the risk of escalation is still very real. Why does this matter? Because Lebanon is already fragile, and any wider war there would almost certainly pull in more actors, create a humanitarian crisis, and put enormous pressure on regional stability. Israel sees Hezbollah as one of its most serious security threats. Hezbollah sees itself as part of the broader resistance front tied to Iran. That makes the conflict much bigger than just a border dispute. The alternative view is the Israel-Hezbollah conflict is not an isolated war, but part of a managed regional destabilization pattern that keeps the region fragmented and strategically dependent. So this is not only about Lebanon, it's about the regional balance between Israel, Iran, and Iran-backed groups across the Middle East. Part 3. Saudi Arabia and the UAE. The third story is quieter, but it may matter just as much in the long run. There's growing tension between Saudi Arabia and the UAE. These two countries are usually seen as close partners, but Reuters reports suggest the relationship is getting more complicated, not just over oil, but also over defense policy, Yemen, and broader regional strategy. This is important because Gulf unity has been one of the main stabilizing forces in the Middle East over the past decade. If that unity weakens, it creates space for more competition, more fragmented diplomacy, and less coordinated responses to crises like Iran, Yemen, and Syria. So while this doesn't look as dramatic as missile strikes or battlefield clashes, it can reshape the region behind the scenes. An alternative take is that Saudi-UAE tensions show that even Gulf allies are now repositioning for a post-dollar, post-unipolar world where sovereign wealth and strategic autonomy matter more than alignment. Part 4. Syria and the regional realignment. Syria is also becoming part of the bigger realignment. Syria is becoming a reconstruction and capital flow battleground, where the real contest is who gets to finance the rebuild and control the upside after the destruction phase. Saudi Arabia is moving to deepen investment there, which shows that some Arab states are trying to re-engage with Damascus instead of leaving Syria isolated. That's part of a broader trend. Countries in the region are increasingly focused on influence, reconstruction, and positioning for the next phase of Middle East politics. In other words, the region is not just at war. It's also being remapped politically. In conclusion, if you want the simplest possible summary, here it is. The Middle East today is being shaped by three main forces: the U.S. Iran confrontation in the Gulf, the Israel-Hezbollah clash in Lebanon, and growing internal competition inside the Gulf itself. Those three pressures could stay contained, or they could feed into a much larger regional crisis. The real story is that regional chaos is giving way to a multipolar reset, and the key question is whether the Middle East is rebuilt through war finance or through monetary sovereignty. And that's why this region still matters so much. One event in one country can quickly affect shipping, energy prices, military planning, and international diplomacy everywhere else.